Hey everybody, it's Sleepy Reader, Damien, your old comic book friend. And speaking of old comic book friends, here is my Kamandi Artist Edition. I'm going to take my very first look at the inside of it. Although I actually have already watched a video by Howlermouse, and I urge all of you who are interested in Kamandi to go see his video about his look through this artist edition, because he has a lot of really great stuff to say. He really loves Kamandi. He is kind of the king of the Kamandi fans. He's the man who wrote the song, and so this will only be a footnote to his video, in my opinion. So anyway, here's one of. I couldn't dig up the very first issue of Kamandi that I ever read. I know I have it somewhere around. Not the original copy, but I know I have a copy of it. But this is my favorite cover of all the Kamandis, and one of the very good issues. I think it's an issue that's in here. So anyway, thought I'd pull that out for a certain amount of comparison. So it's got this kind of brownish cover, and on the back a panel, or maybe even a portion of a panel. Anyway, you can see Volume 1, IDW, Jack Kirby, the last Kamandi, Last Boy on Earth, Artist Edition. So I will be spending even more money if there is a Volume 2, which I have a feeling this one's going to sell well, because I know a lot of people in our community who are going to buy it, or who have already bought it. I would be expecting a video from Scott Conson-Bromstar pretty soon on it too. I think of him and Howlermouse as great, knowledgeable Kamandi fans. So here's the end pages, which is a close-up of a panel, and a close-up of another panel. Oh, this is a classic panel of when Kamandi and Prince Tufton, this tiger prince, first meet. Now the legend goes that DC Comics wanted their own version of Planet of the Apes. They didn't have the rights, so they asked Jack Kirby to do something. And so he did. He made a world of talking animals. But he made it completely his own and turned it into this just incredible kids' adventure story. But such a great kids' adventure story that it fully embodies everything a kid's adventure story should be, and pleases people who aren't children also. At least those of us who grew up with it. It's hard to say. Although I know a lot of people who've read it for the first time as adults and really liked it too. So that's interesting. I don't even immediately recognize this drawing on this title page. And we've got a credits page, which has been interestingly colored in kind of a modern way, with some of the blacks dropped out into other colors. But it's fun to see all these different ways of design ways of Kamandi. I definitely have liked all of these IDW books. I'd love to eventually get my hands on the Jim Steranko books. But I bought 5 of these, so that's over a $500 investment so far. Investment being a loose word. Investment in my joy. So, yeah, these are very yellowed pages. These are, for those of you who don't know, these are extremely high resolution, full color photographs of these black and white pages, so that you can see every detail. Both the effects of aging and just all the kinds of stuff, like the pieces of tape and whiteout that they put in there. Again, I send you to Howlermouse's video for more thoughts on all of that. For me, what I've noticed in some of the other artist editions I've had with Jack Kirby is the power of the art is just magnified by the size and by the strength of the blacks and everything. There's a whole art to doing inking and doing the blacks And Mike Royer, the inker here, was a very faithful inker. So the blacks come from Kirby and are faithfully reproduced by Mike Royer. But anyway, there's that whole style of the black and the white visual graphic that just was filled in with color before the color became sophisticated now. Anyway, there's a whole art to the black and white art that probably is not the same now, and I feel like, I mean, there's many great artists from the Bronze and Silver Age and the Golden Age who mastered this, but I think Kirby in particular, you know, turned it into, he made it his own, he mastered it, he made it his own, and so there's just something about seeing it all in this large size black and white that is particularly thrilling. I'm just going to pull out my another one of my Kirby editions. I want to see whether the pages look as yellow. They're striking me as really yellow. Oh no, they look just as yellow. This is from Mr. Miracle. In fact, maybe they look even yellower on the Mr. Miracles. I'd forgotten about that. This Mr. Miracle book is really beautiful too. There's just amazing images of apocalypse. If I can, of course, I won't find the right ones right at this moment. Anyway, it's a stunning edition also. But maybe I'll look at that some more in a bit. So anyway, you could just get lost in this as anyone would tell you. There's the old Silver Age half page, and Ad went there. Not quite sure what this note means. 1/3 had. Numbers 158 maybe? I don't know. The thing you get the sense of the, I'm sure you get it even more with the real original art, but this is so close. You get the sense of the physicality of the page. You know, it's not this perfect smooth thing. It's had things taped onto it, glued onto it, white out, scratches. There's Flower. Is this more? Yep. So that's it. Interesting comparison. That is a really yellow page. And look at that. This is all black here, but that must have been done in some post-production copy. This is black. So maybe they had a way of taking certain sections and doing a negative, because Does Man Belong in a Zoo is reversed into white. Wow. Huh. It just has a very different effect. And just looking at like Kamandi's leg, somehow it feels different in the larger size than when it's reduced. Let's open this up. I don't really have any deep thoughts since I'm just looking at this for the first time, but you can imagine as a 11 or 12-year-old boy when I first stumbled across Kamandi issues, I was fascinated by hair that would just stay in that crucial spot there. Thought someday I'd marry a girl who could wear her hair like that. Never asked my wife to try. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting just how, like, this was whited out. I bet a lot of whiting out happens in lettering. Let's see the double page spread. This copy is pretty yellow too. This is a reader's copy in a sense. I have to get a better copy someday. This is a beautiful picture. And as much as I've always loved this in color, I love this picture even more in its full-size black and white. It amazes me that like pieces of tape don't show there. There's a lot about printing processes I don't really understand. Yeah, and another thing is we're seeing this on like the highest quality paper you can get, and this is on really cheap paper, and there just seems to be a difference in that effect also. Is Kamandi and Flower waking up or going to sleep? In some ways, color does bring it to life. Like I was just looking at this panel, and it feels kind of flat. But then with some color on it, not even really the greatest color in the world, like that orange background, but it seems to make it pop a little more. So it kind of depends on the individual panel whether I'm feeling it's better. Like I like this in black and white much more than in color. It's funny. This is very intense, both in black and white and color, but even more intense. I wonder if you guys can hear me. We'll see when I replay the video. That's an intense picture. I guess the color kind of helps you sort out all the different bodies, but somehow to me the color reduces the intensity just slightly in most cases. I'd love to, part of me is a purist, but part of me would love to see like a modern colorist take on a book like this, like have Matthew Wilson recolor it or something. Because a modern colorist could totally ruin this, but could also really enhance these things. Yeah. So, I'm probably taking up a lot of time. Ooh, love that face. For me, above all, with all of these artist editions I've bought, it's another way to read these comics and look at this art. And it does feel different reading them this way than reading them this way. That was very true with the Gil Kane Spider-Man comic I got. I got a whole different immersive intensity in reading it in this size, in black and white, in such intensely well printed inking. So yeah. If you just are curious about Kamandi and what people are talking about, and you're willing to read digital comics, I believe they still, on Comixology or on the DC Comixology app, sell the first 27 issues of Kamandi for 99 cents a piece. So you can read issue 1 for a mere 99 cents and see what you think about it. And if you love it, you may want to go seek out the original issues or get something like this. Or there are some rather poorly printed omnibuses of Kamandi also. I hesitate to recommend those, but it is a way to get most of the stories. So here's most of these artist editions have a back section with some random pages or covers or sometimes sketches or presentation art. So I guess these are some particularly good pages from issues that they couldn't get the whole thing of. Well, that's weird. This page seems kind of stuck to itself. This is one of Kirby's most complex double page spreads. I remember marveling over it a number of times before and loving the way the title goes across there like that. This was always funny where Kamandi finds an old copy of Demon #1, which was coming out around the same time as Kamandi. So yeah, here's some sketches. An unused pencil panel from Kamandi #3. I think that was a sketch for a fan. What's it say? 1970s era sketch for a fan. I've seen this one as a cover of the Kirby, one of the Kirby collector issues. And then a biography of Jack Kirby. Yeah, so I'm real excited to get that. While I'm showing you these, I don't know if I really showed off these other Jack Kirby books that I got. So you just got a peek at the Mr. Miracle. In some ways, much to my surprise, because I always thought Mr. Miracle was more minor, when I got this artist edition, I thought that Kirby was doing some of his very best work on it. Now, Mr. Miracle and the New Gods started off with Vince Colletta inks. Vince Colletta is infamous for erasing some of Kirby's backgrounds and details, and he was the consummate pro of the time in the sense that he could hit deadlines like crazy. He could do a whole book overnight, which is actually in itself a real amazing feat. But at times meant that he cut a lot of corners, and it's often felt like his inks did not capture the energy of Kirby the way some of the better inkers did, such as Mike Royer, who did a lot of Kirby's 70s inking, and Joe Signett did all of Kirby's best inking, all the best inking on Kirby in the 60s. So one of the things about Mr. Miracle, at least during the earlier issues that more focused on the whole Fourth World story, is that his story just seems more personal, that he was someone who was escaping the horrors of apocalypse. Yeah, so I'll just go quickly through here. There's one of those amazing pictures of apocalypse that I love so much. I guess these guys are all parademons. I'm not sure how all the different. And there's a statue of Darkseid and everything. Not sure how all the different rankings of people. Classic character, Granny Goodness. Really a great villain, alongside Darkseid, of course. And of course, Big Barda in full uniform, one of my favorite female characters in superhero comics, especially when drawn by Kirby. It's both her personality and her visual. Here's Big Barda's just beat up a bunch of people, a bunch of guards at Granny Goodness's orphanage, I believe. And here's the female Furies that I love this spread page. And maybe this could use some color to make clear everything. This is the first issue of Mr. Miracle I ever read as a kid. Not that that's important to you guys. Oh man, that is just beautiful vision of technological, futuristic hell. So yeah, this slightly different design approach to this in the back is more a different thing. There's a fold-out page here. So you've got one of his concept, I think one of his early concept sketches of Mr. Miracle, and this unusual full-page spread with an unusual kind of perspective to it. That's really amazing. Talk about just visuals that draw you into the story. Pencil sketch there. Some other random covers. Sometimes I can't tell you right here. Like this is not original photograph. I'm not sure why they put that in there. Sometimes they put these things in there to show you what the original looked like, to compare it to how the editors changed something. Yeah. There's a nice shot of Big Barda. Wonder if my camera's run out of memory or anything. Let me check that it's still running. Yep, we're still going. 19 minutes. Wow. Okay, I'll just quickly also show you the new guide. It's nice to save the boxes that all these came in. There's no easy way to store these giant books. You can't really put them on bookshelf. So it's nice to keep them in the boxes when you're not looking at them. And so, there is the new gods one. Slightly different way of designing the pages. As a kid, I thought the New Gods was the ultimate comic ever. I used to have dreams about further issues that I hadn't read or that hadn't yet been published of the New Gods, where it would just get more and more grand and more intense. These are Vince Coletta inks again. There's perhaps our first vision of Apocalypse. I think when I first read this, I did not know what the word apocalypse meant. So my first understanding of that word came from these books, and then later, I later learned that was not really the name of a planet. And I love the team up of Orion and Light Ray together. Orion the pacifist. Light Ray the pacifist, Orion the natural warrior. These pages are not as yellow. Someone took a lot better care of them. I wonder if, like as I perceived this as the New Gods as the lead book in the Kirby world, maybe collectors also at the time valued it more. Got some bad guys called the Deep Six. Here's an amazing issue called The Pact, which gives us the backdrop of Highfather and Darkseid's bargain with each other, which was a betrayal of their children to bring peace, you might say. Classic stuff out of Greek mythology or something, but yet not stolen from Greek mythology, made up out of Jack Kirby's own imagination. Maybe as a boy I liked this most because it was closest to a even though it had all this kind of mythological over-the-topness, it was the closest one to a superhero comic. Those must be concept sketches. Yeah, when DC first got Jack Kirby, they certainly hyped him up a lot. The Great One is coming. Look sharp, look up, look out. Behind you, above you, all around you, the boom tube. And all its awesome wonders is coming to National. They still call themselves National Comics. So here is another one of those fold out. Not sure what this is. It looks like a splash page, but it's bigger than all the other splash pages. Maybe we did a few extra sized ones. Concept sketch of Metron. Not sure if all of that will be in the picture. Darkseid and Orion battling it out. I wonder what that's from. Maybe even Hunger Dogs or one of the later sequels. Some covers. Oh, that's a nice one. There's often you see the classic Kirby picture with all the Marvel superheroes around him. Here he is with all the bizarreness of the fourth world around. I think this is inked over by Neil Adams, maybe with the faces completely redone by one of the other artists. Yeah, Yeah, I can't remember what the stories are behind these, why they included them. Here's one where they show the edits. I'd have to look back at the table of contents. I assume this is the one that I changed, and this was Kirby's original. Oh, there's another version. What's going on? I don't know. Anyway, you see that these are, you get a good picture of what these are like. So I'm flipping through it, I hope. And here seems to be an article, oh, it's a little afterword written by Mike Royer, one of the inkers, and possibly the ultimate best Jack Kirby inker. So, there you go. Some of my expensive book purchases, I think all in the past year or so. Someday I need to take an in-depth look at my Will Eisner Spirit edition, which is like even bigger, about that tall. And I'd like to get volume 2. They did do 2 volumes of that. But there's only so much money to spend, and I already spend a lot of it. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.